Some Timeline listeners. Here we are, and it's the day after No King's Day. It's like No King's Boxing Day. It's always kind of a sad day because, you have to wait a whole year before No King's Day comes again. And, you box up all the No King's Day festoons and the No King's Day ornamentations, and you wait till next year. Until next year, I hope everyone had a good No King's Day. I felt it was fine. I actually met up with the guest of this episode, and Matt Lieb and Francesca Fiorentini and their daughter. And also, I met up with Seth, who now lives in downtown LA, and we marched, and it was fine. And we left before cops started trampling people with horsies. Gosh, leave the horsies out of this, you guys. Living in a little bit of a fascist time. Interesting to be at the march. Kind of feels like I would like everyone to come together. That's kind of what I'm no longer interested in owning anybody. I want to stop with the owning because, when we're all divided, it's kind of like the people at the top win. You guys know how that is. But I was relieved that I didn't see any, like, if we voted for Kamala, we'd be having brunch right now signs. Because I work brunch sometimes, and it's not a good place, and I don't want you to go. It's not about brunch, you guys. Make your own goddamn eggs on Sunday is what I have to say about that. So was the march cringy? Not as much as it could be. I'm also trying to cringe less. I saw someone tweeted like, "Oh, I told Susan Sarandon, how'd that third party vote work out?" Ha, owned her. And I'm like, don't own Susan Sarandon. She's been through enough. She's lost her representation because she said free Palestine or whatever. So just leave Susan Sarandon alone. But in terms of a timeline, when you're a kid and you have to fill in the timelines with the little dates in history, but sometimes they'd be too close together and you couldn't write the whole thing. I think we're in one of those right now, where it's hard to fill it in. It's been too much for me. I felt I was doing really good sort of balancing all of the ICE activism in LA. It's been really cool, but really scary how fascist the response has been, obviously. And listen, I've had my moments of being flattered in what's the word I'm looking for? I've been charmed. I've been charmed by Gavin Newsom lately. I'll admit it. I've seen his TikTok lately. He's obviously got some fun Gen Zer TikToks, and he's like, telling the president, like, yeah, come arrest me before you arrest 4-year-old girls. You know where I am. And, I don't, and then the next video, Gavin Newsom's like, and if you were causing a stir at any of the protests, we'll find you and we'll get you. We're looking at the photos. And I'm just like, it was nice while it lasted. I can be a victim. I can be succumbed. I can be charmed occasionally. I'll admit it. I'm not like one of these guys that stands strong. I'm ready to be won over at any time. During COVID, I'm not going to say I was a Cuomo-sexual, but I'm not going to say I never liked a Cuomo-sexual post. I'm not going to say that I didn't get really into Hamilton when it came out on Disney Plus, even though I know the critiques of our founding fathers. So yeah, Gavin Newsom, we go back and forth. It's really embarrassing. When you don't tell your friends that you've hooked up with a guy that's burned you in the past, And then they're like, what were you doing last night? And I'm like, I was crocheting. So, and being an empowered woman with strong morals and a strong sense of who I am. Not always the case. So what I was going to say is I felt that I've been strong and learning and consuming and reacting to all the ICE stuff. I even told my therapist, like, oh, I'm doing so good. I'm staying involved and I have hope. And then Israel bombed Iran. And, you know, I fell apart a little bit. I didn't feel good. I hit my max. I maxed out on information. And I didn't feel that good. I got in arguments with my partner. I feel that my partner wants me to be happy and like in this way where I'm like, why are you with someone who's like a miserable woman? You know, I guess it's a challenge, you know. I think his mom was depressed, you know, so it's kind of like I'm a chance for him to undo that, you know what I mean? Like to finally save his mother, but I just want to be miserable, and I want to be left to that, and I want to be. One news today is that I saw Iran hit Netanyahu's home, and I think he wasn't in it, but it was almost the second best news I possibly could have gotten. Am I feeling? Well, I think I did have a sense of, you know, maybe now that we're going to war, like I was half asleep. I haven't been sleeping well. I'm house sitting in Huntington Beach. More on that in a second. But I did have a sense of like, are we going to get nuked tonight? Is this the end? You know, and spinning out. But I did have this kind of relief, which is interesting, which I was like, well, if I go, I feel that I've done a good job with comedy. I feel my comedy's good. And I didn't know I was proud of my comedy until Israel bombed Iran. I truly didn't. I'm kind of hard on myself. I feel like I'm not very prolific. But as I was met with my imaginary nukes the other night, I felt at peace with my comedy. So that was good to learn. Do I want to be particularly a political comedian? Not really. But it's like politics is happening all over us right now. And I don't even want to call a lot of it politics. It's kind of like, you know, ICE is going around LA stealing people. I don't know how that's not political. That's just shitty. By the way, my protest sign, which nobody thought was funny but me, was Gestapo, more like Gastupid. That was my No Kings thing. Nobody liked it, but I thought Gastupid was such a funny word. And you know, I'm trying out here. I'm still trying to write. I'm still trying to take this fascist opportunity to write something I like, but most of what I write, I don't like. But as we learned from our imaginary nukes, overall, we're proud of what we've done. So yes, I'm house sitting in Huntington Beach for my father, and it's been really interesting with everything going on, going back and forth to protests and then coming back to MAGA land in the suburbs, which my dad's not MAGA, I feel like I must say, but he said he has nightmares where his neighbors are yelling at him. So he just does the Wordle now and the games and doesn't read the news, which I guess I get just so I can keep in your head above water. You don't need to spin out like I did over Iran-Israel situation. But yeah, I've been down here. I've been annoyed at the neighbors. Huntington Beach is so beautiful. But I just get so, it's just the culture's so shitty. And, you know, one of the neighbors is talking to me and she's friendly, right? But you know how you can just feel like this vitriol under friendliness? It's like hard to explain, but it's just like I feel like an anger underneath her aggressive friendliness. And it's I don't really know how to describe it. But I got really annoyed because she moved the trash cans in. And I was like, oh, what? Did I like not move the trash cans in soon enough? I hate this town. One good thing, though, there was a political measure here that passed, or two, that were to keep the Huntington Beach Public Library public, first of all, and uncensored. And I'm really glad that they won. That feels like kind of a nice little victory over the MAGA, situation. Because there was, there's signs all over the town, and they said like, protect our children from porn, vote no on these measures. And it's just like, and I saw people around with signs that said, protect our children's innocence. And I'm just like, you guys are the ones with signs around town that are talking about porn. It's just weird. And it's like, it's so sad to me the way these people get taken advantage of by someone tells them like, oh, they're reading children porn, so you shouldn't get to have a public library anymore, which happens to be one of the most amazing resources we have. I can't believe how greedy people are that they're just trying to take away all these cool resources like libraries, public parks, whatever else. It just feels like the mayor in LA is cutting all this stuff because of budget. I don't know, but it's just like let's focus on what keeps civilization afloat, shall we? Just a thought. Updates on comedy. Haven't been doing very many shows in the past week as I've been down in Huntington Beach. Haven't even been writing that much, but I did start this file on my phone that's like for my new therapist. And I realized that a lot of the things I want to talk about in therapy are kind of funny. I don't know if they'll end up being jokes, but I wrote, Trump is so divisive. I lost a relationship with my cousin, and we've had the same molestation experience. Look, I don't know how to weave that into a full-blown joke yet, but I do think that that is hilarious, because if anything should bring you together, it's that. But we just took our little trauma in two really different directions, which you can do with trauma. You can... Trauma's your oyster. The world's a stage. I don't know. But I hope you really enjoyed my talk with Matt Lieb. Known him a long time. We used to run a show together in San Francisco called The Mission Position in the early 2010s. So I hope you guys are taking really good care of yourself. Yes, go to a protest, speak out, but touch grass, as they say. I just went for a walk with my partner in the Bolsa Chica wetlands here in Huntington Beach, which is really, I love to see a bird. Nothing will make me feel better than seeing some weird birds. It just feels right. It feels like in a confusing world, just seeing a dinosaur is excellent. And then I like to read all the signs. I guess they have these cogged stones that look like little wheels that have cogs in them that are like ancient native from the Tongva people who originate these lands. They had these cog stones, and it's like, it looks like a little, like if you were building a machine, it's like a little cogged wheel, but not potentially really sure what they were used for. Maybe ceremony, maybe astrological function. I mean, astronomical. Ugh, astrology ruins everything. But the only other place where they're found is Chile, and on the coast of Chile. Kind of interesting. So I will be spending the rest of my day trying to find that portal and sort of, exploring the wonders of nature and the stars and history and the future. And I hope you guys do too. And I hope that we all find some balance, figuring out how to push back against fascism, and then also live like we were dying, enjoy ourselves, see some birds. Definitely go to a library. Definitely look at all the books. Even if you don't read books, sometimes it just feels good to walk around and look at books. So anyway, thanks you guys for listening. Enjoy my talk with Matt. Okay, let me kind of more officially.
Yeah, start.
Let me give the guy a start.
Okay.
Hello, Matt Lieb, my old time friend.
Yes.
There's a lot of psychic wounding going on. Yeah, for sure. Do you want to start with a meditation?
Oh yeah.
I think the listeners would like that.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and close your eyes.
Do I do this or do the listeners?
Yeah, I think
do it?
you do
Okay,
it too
fine,
if you want. If you want.
No, I'll do it. I'll do it.
You know what I mean? Like I'll do it too.
When I close my eyes, I see only the worst moments of myself replayed in my head forever. On
okay, keep your eyes open for a second.
I'm gonna close it. I want to see those.
Okay, all right. Just kind of a soften your eyelids, soften your brow. Okay, and take a deep breath in through your nostrils. Deeper. Hold. Release. Now another deep breath.
Again, okay. Listen.
Yeah, another one. And release. Imagine that you are standing in a warm river.
How far up is the water?
Waist deep.
Okay.
Just right above your pee-pee. And as you breathe out, you take a nice long pee into the river.
Oh, and no one knows because my dick is submerged. No one knows.
But don't actually pee on my couch.
I won't.
Okay.
But in my mind.
Nobody knows. But you invite everyone into play. Your family's there.
Don't worry about that warmness you feel. Must be a current.
And then you let out a little toot, and there's bubbles behind you.
Must be a flounder. Little
and
whale.
Everyone says, we don't want to swim yet. We're just going to
Well, I'll just shit and piss in this river alone then.
And then,
fuck you.
So you're alone in the river and all your friends and family are playing on the beach.
You're away from them.
And the little but you hear them and their laughter brings you joy.
Oh, good.
And now a little butterfly comes up and lands on the tip of your nose. And you can see its eyeballs looking at you.
Whoa. How did God create such horrors?
And it says, hello.
Oh, no, it's talking. Hello, little butterfly.
I used to be a caterpillar.
Oh, cool.
And now I fly. And soon you will fly.
Does it have a gun? It just shoots me.
It shoots you in the head. And your blood runs down the river. But you feel a great release as you continue to pee and poo out of your every orifice releasing. And as you exhale, you let every thought, every joke, every worry, every Trump, every Netanyahu, every mediocre sandwich just float away down the river.
Oh, I'm free.
Okay, you may open your eyes. Yeah, there's a lot of psychic wounding going on right now and a lot of bullshit. And I think it's good to just remember that, like, you will die.
That is good to remember. It's one of my number one, like, fantasies that I have right before I fall asleep at night.
Yeah, I used to worry about death.
Well, I used to worry about it.
Yeah.
And I still worry about it. But now, more so, I fantasize about it. And it's usually the not in like I want to die way, but it's usually as a part of like a taking some people with me fantasy where it's like I'm like, I go out in a blaze of glory, like, just murdering tech oligarchs all at once.
Yeah, I have a lot of martyr fantasies myself.
Yeah. Murdering people.
I've been wanting to kamikaze myself at helicopters this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, sensitive to the noise. So
Yeah, I remember I used to live in this neighborhood. There's a lot of helicopters.
Well, there's a lot going on in LA too right now, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot
so they've been
going
flying around.
Yeah.
They've been trying to
Sorry, I won't put my shoes on.
You want to take off your shoes so that you can get comfy?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. It's like a cozy podcast, you know.
I like being cozy.
There's only like 5 to 20 listeners, so it's very it's very cozy,
intimate,
very chill, very low pressure situation. Yeah. But okay, a lot going on. I went to protest yesterday.
Oh, so you went? Oh, that's great.
I went to protest. I steal people. I steal people, not I steal people.
Oh, ice. Steal.
I steal people.
I steal people.
I go to protest.
Yes. You return people. I steal people.
I go return them.
Yeah. Return the people.
I went to like the most chillest. I was like, I'm going to the chillest one. It starts in the morning.
Oh,
Had
nice.
Speakers. Dolores Huerta spoke.
Oh, cool.
It was done by Centro CSO.
Yeah. They're great.
And so I'm speaking. I've got my little signs. Really cute, by the way, because Eric painted the signs. And it was so cute because I like came home from a show and he's painting these signs.
Oh, I love that.
And I was like, look at our little life in fascism.
Yeah.
Of course, he used the cardboard for this air conditioner that I want to return. So, little tricky.
I feel like you can buy another box.
Yeah, we're going to buy another box. It's going to be okay.
I think you could, yeah.
But yeah, he bought this giant air conditioner, which is great because, you know, climate change get too hot in here.
Yes.
But it's huge and it's black, so it looks like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And I know that Darth Vader turns good at the end, but mostly
he's bad.
Mostly he's bad.
Yeah, and does he really turn good at the end, or does he just, He does. He does turn good.
He does.
Because he shows up as a hologram at the end.
Yeah.
And it's not a red hologram.
That's how you know when it's hologram.
Do Sith Lords not get a hologram at the end? They just die forever?
Yeah, you don't get a hologram, you bad. You don't get a hologram.
That's crazy. That, to me, that alone would be a reason not to turn to the dark side. Because it's like, at least if you're a light side, if you're a Jedi, you get to live forever as a hologram.
Well, I think that's why people are Christians.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But, they have no proof of, dying and turning into a hologram. There's proof that Jedis turn into holograms.
Yeah.
So
there's actually video proof. It's been caught on video.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it myself. And so if that's the case, then why ever be a Sith Lord? Because you can, pretty much Jedi powers and Sith powers are like pretty evenly matched. I think you can't do lightning if you're a Jedi. Okay. But
Sith is bad Jedi?
Yeah, Sith is like a dark side.
How come when you're dark side you get lightning?
I think because like lightning is like bad.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't do any good. It's just evil. It's like it's like a electricity gun. Jedis don't have a gun. They don't like all of their powers are like healing. They can make you stay still. Force stasis, it's called. They've got a force persuasion. That's the one where you go, these aren't the droids you're looking for. Which to me is like, that's kind of evil also, right? I'm sorry, is this boring you?
No, not at all. I think that it's important that we study Star Wars in these times.
I think so too. I just watched Andor.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about Andor.
Hell yeah, dude.
We're definitely, because, well, first let me finish my protest story. And
What
listen,
happened?
If you don't, I don't even need to tell you because you've seen Andor.
Yeah.
It was exactly what happened with the Gormans.
Oh, you guys got
We
genocided.
are the Gore. We are the Gore.
We are the Gore.
No, we didn't get genocided, but they did like blow shit up and then go on the news and be like, look how bad.
I know. I saw.
So this protest we went to, I was like, I'm going to the morning one. There's going to be no drama. I've got my signs from my air conditioning box.
That's how we got on Star Wars.
Because of the Darth Vader air conditioning.
Yeah.
I love podcasting. Anywho, so we march downtown. We get to the federal building. There's children. There's old people. We're like,
right.
where the, and then federal agents are there. when I tell you they immediately started tear gassing and firing rubber
in the
bullets.
Morning.
At that point, when we had marched down, it was maybe like 1 p.m. or
Still though,
it was about
afternoon.
Yeah, it was like you've just had a crumpet and a tea.
Right, exactly.
For God's sake, it used to be back in our day. They'd wait till night for the drama.
Evening time.
Maybe even probably even night.
Yeah.
It used to be like but it was the worst I've ever seen. I left super depressed. I guess the bigger protest that happened in the afternoon, which I think was less planned. I think it was more like, everyone go downtown.
Right, yeah.
I think that one stayed chiller for longer. But it just is, it did feel like fascism level up a little bit. And Andor, it is very corny to be like, if you don't understand what's going on right now, watch a Star Wars. But I do take Andor out of that equation a little bit.
Andor is actually really good though. Like, so it's one thing to compare, I don't know, things to a Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, when the sequels came out, like episode 7, 8, 9.
Right.
And, Trump got into office and liberals started being like, resist. It's just like the resistance in Star Wars. Like it was lame because it was like liberals doing it to a movie that like those sequels were not, they were like fun or whatever, but they politically were kind of all over the place. I mean, the stories themselves were just kind of rehashing old Star Wars shit, even original Star Wars shit. Like you can find political messaging in there, of course, obviously. But all in all, essentially a story about good v evil does not make for a good political like ideology in general. Like things being black or white that way. It's the same thing with like Lord of the Rings. So you'll see a lot of like fascists who like Lord of the Rings because they're they like that the elves are all blonde hair, blue eye, and they like that the orcs are just an evil race.
Yeah.
And so it's like if you try to develop your politics around that kind of fantasy fiction, you're going to have some weird reactionary politics. Andor actually has politics. Andor is about the nitty gritty of living under fascism and what people in a revolution have to give up and in order to fight the power. And it's about being morally gray, not light side or dark side, which I think is something that is harder to talk about with, sci-fi. So I love it.
I like how slow in the first season it took him to get radicalized.
Yes, it was great.
It was like, even he did this big mission for money, where he like stole something from the Empire.
Yeah, he stole like the payroll for an entire
Sure.
sector.
He did some like resistance activism for pay. And then he was like, I'm taking my money and I'm going to go fuck this chick on this chill planet.
Yeah, I'm going to space Ibiza.
Yeah. But then he go to jail.
Yeah, for nothing.
He goes to jail.
He gets arrested by a guy because he was near some people who were like running away from them. And he fucking is like, he literally did nothing. And they throw him in like the worst prison ever.
The prison scenes are so cool.
Incredible.
And then it's like, at that point, he's like, yeah, I'm resistance. Anyway, if you haven't seen Andor, we'll stop just spilling the whole plot.
We'll pause this podcast, watch all of Andor, and then start this podcast.
I'm kind of serious. It's a really good show. I hope it wins an Emmy because what's sad about it is the franchise has been so overdone that I feel like it's not going to get its due because it's seen within that, and it's like,
yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, even if it doesn't win an Emmy, it's like, who cares? You know, it's like the Wire didn't, I think, win any Emmys. It like barely got any nominations, and I think The Wire is like one of the best shows ever made. So, yeah, I don't care whether or not it wins an Emmy. I do care that every single man, woman, and child in the world see it. If not to, at the very least, have some sort of accessible franchise media that has messaging that I believe will help people to contextualize their own lives, you know what I mean? And their own political situations.
I agree. I've always had to process what the world is going through some sort of myth or fiction.
Yeah.
And I actually have used Lord of the Rings extensively.
Yeah, well, you're racist.
I am. No. Wait, what? No, my relationships to Lord of the Rings, I don't feel that the good and evil is like really what it's about for me. It's about the relationship with power.
Yes, I think there are ways of looking at any of these things, including Lord of the Rings and like Star Wars, in ways that are not reactionary, like good or evil fucking, myths. So yeah, I'm not saying you can't like Lord of the Rings if you're woke or whatever. I'm just saying,
To me, the conservatives reading it and they're like, I'm going to call this surveillance company Palantir.
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, it's a misreading of all of it.
And that's the question. Is it a misreading of all of it? Or are they like, I'm evil? Like sometimes I think that, people they ingest this media and I believe most people do see themselves, even bad people and reactionary, like psychopaths like Peter Thiel. They watch it and believe that they're the ones wearing the white hats. Like I'm sure he does believe he's Gandalf or whatever. But sometimes the way that they...
I just realized, you know who JD Vance thinks he is?
He's got Samwise Gamgee.
Maybe he thinks he's a hobbit because he comes from like Appalachia or something, right? But I'm like, if JD Vance is out there fantasizing that he's Aragorn or something.
Oh God, when he's so clearly Grima. No one has ever been more Grima Wormtongue.
Oh my God.
Than JD Vance. Late is the hour. Yes.
He was the last person that the Pope talked to before the Pope died.
I know, he killed the Pope. I mean, come on.
I guess he had this conversation with the Pope where he was like, it's about, you have to protect the people that are in your circle first, who you love. And that's what love is about. And the Pope was like, no.
No. Yeah. Big nope.
No, not really.
Oh, your screensaver went on.
I don't think that'll stop it. But yes.
But all the trees are so distracting.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We could go back into meditation.
No more meditation.
So you're in a forest.
I don't want to be in the forest. If I'm in the forest, I think of the moon of Andor.
Exactly.
I don't want to hang out.
Ooh, what if we started a Star Wars meditation app?
Yubby nub. That'll be fun.
Probably make money. The podcast service we use, like it's Blueberry.
Yeah, Blueberry.
And they like when you're loading your podcast, it's like using the Force.
Yeah, it's very nerdy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it works. It works good. But yeah, I don't know what we're talking about.
Evil Vance.
You think JD Vance thinks he's Aragorn? I
think right now he thinks he's in his Aragorn era.
Ugh.
That's why he's wearing eye makeup.
Is it really eye makeup, or does he just have eyes like that?
I think he has eyes like that.
Gross.
I think. I really don't care.
I don't care. Just eye.
I was writing in my journal that I was like, listening to politics or considering anything that's going on right now and listening to these guys, when someone's like describing a dream to you and it's just so boring and makes no sense. And it's like right now it's like that, but it's real.
Yeah. There's an overwhelming amount of like evil details that I think I am getting like some sort of paralysis from it, because I can't focus on so much evil at once without like losing my mind. So like, I wanted to go to these ICE protests.
Right.
But I mean, Francesca and I both did. But it was over the weekend and we have our child, not in daycare on weekends.
Right.
And I was like, I mean, it would be fun, but I feel like this is, I mean, you know what it was? It was like, it wasn't even, our child's going to get tear gassed. That was part of it. But it was just like, I don't know. She's kind of in a mood today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if she's going to just be screaming the whole time, I just don't want to deal with it. And, I think that if it had been, I don't know, like we've taken her to a lot of pro-Palestine marches and stuff. And because I'm so focused on that like while all this stuff was happening with ICE in LA, I was just like, oh yeah, this is also important for me to go to. I really should have gone to this. And I felt kind of bad.
There's more.
Hopefully.
There will be more protests.
Hopefully.
Nobody should be ashamed for not going to any one thing, because this is a long game.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. As long as Trump administration stays firm and, keeps going the course so that I can go to one of the protests.
I think he will for you.
Oh, thank you. Shout out to Trump. Thank you for being a piece of shit.
Did you see that yesterday the Comedy Store, with all of this going on, was like, happy birthday, Tony Hinchcliffe?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They posted that on their page.
That's great. Good for them. I love the store. They are still, they exist in this. It's a little red spot in a sea of blue. You know what I mean? It's like it's there for.
It wasn't red for a minute. It was like
It was doing. It was
like
pretty
Joe
good.
Left, Hinchcliffe left.
Yeah, everyone went to Austin.
But I think their sales started sinking, and then they were like, "Well, we got to bring back fascism to comedy."
Yeah, they were like,
which,
who said slur most recently? Get past them.
Probably me and you joined comedy, maybe because we thought it was sort of counterculture move. Or we could at least use it in that way.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that was part of it. I was thinking about this recently, and this is going to take us way off course.
There's no course.
Okay. I was thinking about this. It was like, why did I join comedy? Join comedy? Why did I join
it's Scientology.
The Facebook group comedy. Yeah, like it's Scientology.
It is a Facebook group.
It is. But but part of it is like, because I was like, I like doing it. It make people laugh, is fun, feel good, make me feel good, ego trip and stuff. And more and more I've realized like a pretty big reason was because I liked to impress girls. And once you're married and have a child, that need is like, it's not as present anymore. So I'm like, when I'm doing comedy, sometimes I'll just be like, what's even the point of this?
That's so funny.
It's very sad. I need to like be able to like, refocus my motivation on it, because I can't, I do enjoy it. I still enjoy doing it, but I'm like, I'm not even impressing girls right now. It's like, it's fucked up.
I forget that like girls like male comedians, that's like,
the weird thing is it's it is somewhat true, but very rarely did I ever meet a girl at a show. Almost, I could count on one hand how many times that actually happened. But it was more that when I would meet a girl in a different situation, you know, whether it was like online dating or at an event or something, and I told her I was a comedian, they immediately were like, cool. This is back in the day before everyone was a comedian, and comedian was synonymous with rapist. So, you know, or synonymous with any of the fucking myriad of awful fucking things that comedians have, you know, been doing. So yeah, it was like, I don't know, it felt like a cool thing to be. And now it feels like less of a cool thing to be. And I still enjoy doing it, but there's part of me that goes like, I need to get my boner back in, you know, a metaphorical way, but also like a non-metaphorical way. You're not going to release this, right?
No.
Okay, sick.
Yeah, I mean, I will to like my listeners.
Oh, okay.
You know, so not really.
So no.
Not really.
Okay.
When you think, because, you know, there aren't really any, which I like. I feel relaxed.
It's better.
My life is good.
There's no pressure.
You've gotten, you know, so I feel a similar way a little bit about stand up. I do have a little bit, I don't want to say a boner for it. I really don't, but.
No, you can say boner.
That's in my head now. I still really love performing. For me, it was never about any sort of sexual interest from any other person, because that was always, for most female comedians, pretty non-existent.
Right.
Maybe you could get laid from a guy who's like wanting to be a comic. That's like, I think it's so interesting that you are.
yeah.
And it's like, you know, I'm probably a better comic than you. And it's like,
just by virtue of me being man.
Yeah. But, and then, you know, some lesbians, but for the most part, that is not, you know, I was in a band that we really didn't play good music. We were just really having fun, and we only played one show, and I got laid from that one show. And I remember getting so much attention from people because I was just like holding a guitar, and it's like, dude, being a musician is way sexier. Of
course. It's 1,000 times sexier.
But, you know, there's this horrible term in comedy for people that date lots of comedians.
Oh, chuckle fucker.
And it's just the worst sounding.
Yeah, everything about it is slur coded.
It's just like, I just hate it.
Yeah, no, I never liked it because I was like,
chuckle fucker.
I never liked it because what are we doing being derogatory towards someone who likes you or is sexually attracted to you? It's like, I've never understood that level of misogyny where you're like, some dumb bitch thinks I'm hot. It's like, to me, I'm like, did you grow up with women throwing themselves at you? Like, I've been grateful for every single person who has ever said something nice about me.
Same.
You know? So it's like, I hate that there's derogatory terms for someone who's giving the gift. Do you know how many suicides fucking chuckle fuckers, quote unquote, have prevented? Probably.
That's so funny.
Probably millions. You know?
To me, it's not so much like, oh, it's misogynist or something like that. I'm just like, on like a visceral level, the phonetics of the situation make me feel like my ears are gonna bleed out. And it's also like you're fucking the chuckle. Ugh.
I don't like
the word chuckles.
Chuckle.
That made me chuckle.
Oh, chuckle fuckle. Yeah, it's too. You're right. It's fucked up. It's not fun to hear the.
Nobody who came up with the word or uses the word chuckle fuckers is someone that I want to be fucking. Not me personally. I don't want them to be fucking at all.
Right. No, you kind of want them dead. Anyone like saying the words earnestly, you're like, you should die. You don't deserve life.
Yeah.
I've been feeling that way about a lot of things recently. Like, a lot of people don't deserve life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying that, like, when you think about And this is, I think, this is where I'm like, oh man, I'm really in a state of powerlessness when you see so many evil people, your fucking, Curtis Yarvins or your Peter Thiels or Elon Musk's and whatnot. And my only thought is like, oh, can someone just fucking...
Yeah.
Well, like not me. I don't believe in violence, but I understand it.
Yeah. I never understood like why someone would create like a movie like Human Centipede. I was like,
right.
I'm like, how sick is that? That you would even come up with that concept for a movie,
even just to think it.
But now I think it.
Yeah.
I think it. I'm like, let's get T and Peter and Elan and
sew them up together.
Yeah, and then just some randos too.
Oh, there's plenty of non-randos though. There's like so many people who deserve to be in a Human Centipede, and I feel like it's overwhelming the amount. And I think that's like part of the helplessness of it. It's just like name after name of people with power, with money, who are openly saying pro-racist, like racist things, eugenicist things, like stuff that, was just considered to be like social suicide, not that long ago. And I think that like half of the, them saying it is because they loved being the troll. But then like now you're like, oh, but they have the power and ability to do the things. We got to do something, someone's got to blow up the Death Star, a little bit, where you're just like, someone's got to blow up the Death Star.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, I have two questions.
Yeah.
So this podcast right now, it's called Some Timeline. I'm probably changing the name soon, but since we're still here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like interested in this concept of like, when did it shift that it was like, oh, that would be social suicide, and like, what was the shift that it's like now? I just farted. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Okay, but I'm just saying you might notice. I was quiet, but
like I'll smell it.
It might waft.
I'll wait. I'll let you know when it hits.
Yeah, it felt like warm, so maybe it was smell. I ate a salad before you got here. There was a lot of raw onions in it.
Those make you fart?
Maybe. Well, I'm just saying they might contribute to like the scent of the fart.
Oh, okay.
But anywho, yeah. So at what point did the timeline shift from it bad to say bad things and dumb things and crazy genocidal things to like, yeah, it's okay.
I mean,
let's do it. Actually,
I think it's been I don't know if it's been slow moving or rapid. It's really hard to fucking tell because like we've obviously been, since like for me, and this is biased because I am of age for this to be the case. But for me, like the beginning of the shift was, of course, 9/11. You start at 9/11 for me.
Okay.
As like a formative sort of change in terms of how, and this is probably less of a change societally and more of a change of how I started digesting the world. In terms of like people being generally okay with dumb shit that you would figure is something, it's like, well, if history has taught us anything, yada, yada, yada. And is like, it was the Bush years, I think for me were eye-opening because it was hard to believe that adults could be so fooled by the biggest idiot in the world, right?
Can I tell you something special about me?
Yeah.
About 9/11?
You did it. You got a call that day. You got told not to go into work.
So we're like similar age, right? Maybe you're a couple years older than me.
I think so.
which in this time period is significant.
Right.
2001.
Right.
I was like 12 or 13,
Right.
I think.
You were end of middle school.
And I was dumb.
Yeah, you're
Like
middle school
when
kid.
people are like, my friends are like, oh, back in the Bush years, like, and I'm like, I was like, yeah, we got to go get weapons of mass destruction.
Totally.
I was like,
That's totally understandable. I understand.
it gets
that.
worse.
Oh, go ahead.
So I was being raised by my grandparents at the
Sure.
time,
Mm-hmm.
who were really Fox News.
Yeah.
And I wrote a letter in support of the Iraq War to
Oh, yeah.
Bill Riley.
Oh man, Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
And
Did he read it on the show?
He didn't.
Oh,
But my grandpa sent it in. My grandpa read it. He's a veteran and stuff, you know.
yeah.
He's dead.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Grandpa. He was, he's just really sweet guy, but so undereducated.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
He didn't even go to high school. You know what I mean?
Straight to the army.
He's probably closeted the whole time. I hope none of my family listens to this. They already fucking hate my guts. But anyway.
But now you've outed him as gay.
Now now she's taking down Grandpa.
Yeah.
But he
Grandpa's being canceled.
but he told
Posthumous canceling.
when he talks about the Navy,
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're like,
that
this
sounds
feels
gay.
pretty gay.
He would talk.
Oh, it's not gay. It's part of the
said-
the Navy culture.
he
Sucking
said
each
he-
other's dicks.
He said he liked to roller disco blade, and like, I'm just like, that's not.
Well, we
And
all
he-
know.
and-
we all know
and-
rollerblading is gay.
And he was homophobic. Rollerblade dancing in the
that's the most
70s
gay.
or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
now it's like, okay, we're all free, but back then,
there's no shame
and then,
in it.
And then the other thing that sets me off is that he was really homophobic, like in this way where it's like, you're feeling this viscerally.
Oh,
like,
yeah, deep down.
deep in the balls.
Yeah.
You hate gay people.
Yeah, and it's for sure. I mean, rollerblading is gay. It's if you talk to, whenever someone says they rollerblade, the first question is, does your mother know you're gay?
I feel like this is like
I'm sorry.
This is like what created MAGA. Like
Yeah.
if my MAGA family listened to this, they'd be like, now we'll burn it down further.
yeah.
So that's crazy. Anyway, so yeah, I was a conservative kid.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, wow, she's not a dumb kid. She's a smart kid.
Right. Yes. This is. I think that has remained true of conservative children.
And this is why I'm not too judgmental of even conservative adults, because I can see the path that led me there.
Right.
That would keep me on that path. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a few things happened to me. I had a couple good teachers, and then I went to college. And once you read too much, I mean,
I know. That's why.
if you understand the concept of peer-reviewed research, it's over.
Right. Yeah.
It's over for ignorance once you understand
Right.
the process of true information.
Right. Yes.
And if you look at history, you cannot say that white Americans and America is the victim
of anything.
of anything.
Right. Yeah. Other than living under a system of capitalism. And even then, they're more so a beneficiary than others. But it's, it is interesting. Like, I also don't blame conservative people in general, just like people. I always differentiate between liars and those who are being lied to. I think that is an important differentiation, because it's like, you have liars, like obviously people who are being lied to will lie because they are saying, but they're regurgitating what they've heard. It's, to me, the ones who are liars, the propagandists, or the fucking the people the propagandists work for. That is the greater evil than the individuals who are ignorant and just kind of regurgitating the things that they are hearing, and that they're being emotionally manipulated to believe. So I have more grace for people in general. I don't look at swaths of people and say they're like hopeless, disposable people, because I do think that the vast majority of people are just living their lives and they're not actively seeking out the cruelty that you kind of see and experience in sort of online spaces. Like, it seems like there's a sea of cruel people and you're fighting against this tide.
Right.
And I don't actually, that's just, and I know it's not true because I live in the world. I interact in the world. I don't just live online.
Right.
And so nobody is like that. And social situations exist on a very rare occasion in which you are confronted with a psychopath. You know what I mean? Or someone who is just like, they live for cruelty. So I tend to like reserve my ire for those who are lying to people or propagandists or whatnot.
Right. Like a Steve Bannon.
Right. Or, like fucking any of the tech oligarchs that we were just talking about, or like the fucking, mainstream news media, fucking the heads of weapons manufacturers and, military fucking contractors, the ones who are, actively engaged in all of the bullshit that you're seeing around us.
What about all these ICE idiots?
You mean like
the ICE agents?
The agents themselves? You can 100% and always should reserve your ire for them as individuals and as a collective. That's a choice. You're not conscripted into fucking ICE.
I mean, but one thing I'll say about them, and I hate them more than I hate most people, but they are probably the dumbest people.
True.
They're a victim of that. I mean, I bet you the IQ of the ICE force is fucking low.
Yeah. 100%. I mean,
like, it feels like they like watched a movie.
Yes.
And then we're like, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think they are, in a way, victims of whatever circumstances led them to be so stupid as to want to join ICE. And, on an individual level, you can parse all of that. But, I mean, personally, I'm like, these are not conscripts. These are people who they make an active choice, and I don't think it's there's no point in individually litigating all of their stupidness. It's like some of them are stupid, and it's like, it's sad that people are stupid, but it's like, there's a lot of other stupid people who are doing nothing wrong.
Right.
So who has the time?
I guess just as a thought experiment, I don't even know what word I just said.
A pyramid.
Just as a thought pyramid.
As a thought pyramid. I'm going to sphinx very hard about this.
Like, what is the timeline from me writing a letter to Bill Riley about the Iraq War to like, now I'm an ICE agent? By the way, you never see women ICE agents. Do you?
I guess you don't.
So at least, women are in every other horrible sphere of lice. Of lice.
Of lice.
All right.
Welcome to the Stroke Cast. Our sponsor is Burning Toast. Do you taste metal? Is your half face droopy? Do you feel like you're about to pass out? Why one eye no work no more? Hand all clampy? Welcome to the Stroke Cast.
Honestly, I feel like the main reason I'm doing this podcast is because it'll be like I can send it to a doctor.
Yeah. Can you diagnose something's wrong with me?
And I'm like here talking about how stupid ICE agents are.
Yeah.
Lice agents.
But no, the timeline that would have led you to.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about this around 9/11 times. I just after 9/11, I think I was in not the exact same, but a very similar boat as you, where I was just like, and they were like, we're going to Afghanistan. I was like, fuck yeah, good. We got to get rid of those terrorists. And like, due to I don't know, probably the old school internet algorithm somehow is getting emails from like conservative websites, like Newsmax and stuff. I don't ever remember signing up for that shit, but I got one time that was like, join the Minutemen.
Oh yeah.
And I remember just like being like, what is that? And it's like, oh, we protect the border. And I was like, that seems like a noble cause. There was like half of me that was like, what if I was a Minuteman? I would have like a bayonet.
Yeah.
I would have a musket.
I think that if you became a Minuteman, it could have led you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have, I don't know how much I believe, like, is a difference within us? Like, do we just have more empathy that, like, is there a world where we could like hear a child screaming for its mother and being like, nope, I'm a Minuteman?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
Or are we built different? Like, are we built better? Are we good? Or did something go in a different direction? But like, yeah, this
hard to tell.
But it's exciting to feel like, oh, I can be a vigilante. I'm not powerless in the world. Like,
right.
I did see a lady who was doing something similar to that in a video, and it was like she went and watched the border cams online like all night on her computer, and then you can, like, if there's an immigrant, you can like running, you can like click, be like,
yeah,
oh
send in a drone, kill it.
So
yeah, no, I mean, I think there's like people who are obviously, I mean, I think everyone feels somewhat powerless, and anything that anyone that gives them agency, then they're going to support that person. And they're, I think the problem is that like a lot of people are being made to feel scared of their neighbor, or of their like just fellow people, and they and that manipulation is making them more, I don't know, amenable to like believing that there are types of people who don't deserve the same type of rights or the same type of like, I don't know, empathy as like others. And it's like the most extreme example of that is always looking at Israeli society for me. Like nothing will make you feel more, I think, fucking depressed about what humanity can be than looking at Israeli society. Because it's such a hardcore brainwash that you're living in a completely inverted reality that you're like, I don't even know how you break someone out of that. And I still, have to like choose to not fully I'm not excusing it, but not fully believe that there's that level of explicit cruelty. I think a lot of it is very zone of interest type shit, where it's like, just, no, I can put it out of my mind, and then I can contextualize it, compartmentalize it in a particular box, because to be confronted with it, in all of its gory details, I think would, change their outlook. And I think these are people who don't want to have their outlook changed because they know that something awful is necessary, quote unquote, in order for them to feel safe. And they put their safety before anything else.
Very interesting. Yeah, the sense of safety. In the end, we are all going to die, That
is true. And
it's like the safety is kind of an illusion.
Yeah.
So, so much trauma. But yeah, I have I have cousins that have like blocked me on Instagram and stuff. They were raised in Israel, and like I was before this what's going on now. I don't even remember what we were talking about. But I took my cousin to Disneyland. She was like maybe 17 or something, and she had left Orthodox Judaism.
Oh, they were Orthodox.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, but she had left, and she was like, I'm queer, I'm out, I escaped. But there's still obviously this really intense brainwashing conditioning going on, because we were talking about, I don't even remember what it was, one of the Muslim countries or something. And then she was just like, but yeah, they want to kill all Jews.
Right.
And just like snapped at Disneyland. And
you're just in the teacups.
And I'm just like, dude, I feel bad for her, because she really was fully brainwashed to feel that unsafe.
Right.
Her whole,
she truly believed what
while
she was
there's
saying.
trauma going on from her own community.
I'm still listening. I swear to God. Yeah.
Anywho, but that's all. But it's like, really, it's like, and I feel this way about white women just in general too, which is like, you got molested by someone in your own white ass family, and now they're taking that trauma and projecting it onto your neighbors that live down the street, and what a danger they are.
Right.
Not to say nobody's ever been assaulted by anyone of a different race.
No,
whatever,
but it's like,
usually it's in the family.
Right. And these like particular, tropes about safety concern, whether if it's for women's, sexual safety, or if it's for, a man's family's physical, like, safety from violence of non-sexual type. It's always like, yes, it's like deep sort of projection. And it's like, also, like, in order to make you feel safe, your safety is going to come at the expense of another community's safety. And this is like the whole problem. This is what you see everywhere, is people couching their racism and like fascist tendencies under like safety concerns, under like security concerns, whether it's like Israel, or whether it's apartheid South Africa, or whether it's just fucking, Los Angeles. Like, everyone's like talking about their own safety concerns. When they do anti-trans bullshit, it's always safety concerns. I think like there's also other like more liberal coded stuff, or you have TERFs obviously talking about like, well, it's unfair in sports or whatever. But for the most part, that's just an inroad for libs to get to the point where they go like, also safety concerns, bathrooms, public spaces, blah, blah, blah. Or they'll talk about children's, health. And it's never them saying I'm Sauron. It's always them saying I'm Aragorn. And I think like
somebody's got to be Sauron.
Right. Someone's fucking Sauron here, and I think the way that people couch the shit in safety concern is it seems to be like universalized. Like we are, it's like everyone is playing this particular type of victim. Like it's the right wing always like, talks about the victim mindset of, quote, like left wingers or liberals or any person of color, any like discrete and insular group that's ever had like a movement to protect itself from, white supremacy or whatever. They always are just like, these guys all think they're victims, but literally all of their like calculations, everything that motivates them, at least in a front facing propaganda sort of way, like this is what they tell people, is about their own personal safety, their own victimization, their own feeling of feeling unsafe in their neighborhoods. It's like everyone is doing the victim thing. Stop pretending like you are fucking like, oh, we're just living our lives and all these pride parades are going around, fucking saying that they're afraid. And, it's like, no, all you do is say you're afraid.
Yeah, it's weird how much everyone can make everything about them. Like even these protests, like some people are like, I feel so unsafe. And I'm like, you live in the Hollywood Hills. I took a walk today and I was getting all these texts that are like, are you okay? And I was like, walking down a street, there was like birds and butterflies, and I had like a matcha latte, and I was doing hot yoga. And it's the same thing with like Israel stuff. When people over here are like, Hamas is coming.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, literally, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. And the same thing with the bathroom is it's like, the bathroom is not. I've lived now as a woman, and I'm just like, the bathroom isn't the place that's scary.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just not.
It is all an excuse. It's all a way so that you can have a narrative in your head, a framework by which you can view yourself and the world that places you in the protagonist wearing the white hat like character, right? Like, you need to see the world that way because that's how narratively you can live with it. Like, if you are looking at groups of, migrants who are like undocumented being like rounded up and, deported, the only way you can feel good about that, or feel good about seeing like, parents being separated, children being separated from their parents, the only way you can feel good about that is to put yourself in the fucking like different contextual framework, to invert the reality so that you somehow would have been victimized by those people, by that baby, by that fucking, family. And it's like that, the ability to look at yourself.
What if I was outside and, okay, let's say that baby was, it was in its stroller. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I was just like there.
Yeah.
And then the baby like
was like, Orale Vata, I'm going to take your job. Wham, 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 wham.
And then I have a white baby.
Oh, yeah. My white baby's not in a gang.
Yeah.
In fact, he's a police baby.
So that baby might. I was thinking it would stab my baby.
Yeah. Like, what would happen?
I mean, I don't have a baby, but
no. In this scenario in which I had a baby, you think it's fair that my baby should be have to?
Why do you want to kill my baby?
What? Yeah, my baby is strolling down the street in peace, and all of a sudden, these MS-13 babies. MS, the M stands for Muppet. Muppet babies come.
Dude, I have Muppet babies in my neighborhood too.
Yeah.
And they're like, Muppet babies.
Yeah. Well,
and I can't sleep.
I can't sleep because they're always singing their songs and talking about the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That was a great show. But yeah, no, it's like that narrative shit is something that the reason that pisses me off is because, or I guess more so, it's I see in microcosm sort of with the like Israel stuff is people who are living in that bubble in which they have this completely inverted reality, and it is being reinforced by the media that they're watching, or the influencers that they follow, or the news that they consume. Like all of it is shaped so that they can live in their comfy little bubble. And the reality does not match up to that bubble, but it doesn't need to. They can live comfortably in this very strong narrative that they, at the end of the day, should be purely focused on their own safety concerns. And I'm not even talking about Israelis. I'm talking about like American Jews in the United States who do nothing but talk about the, anti-Semitism on college campuses and all that stuff. And that's like a microcosm of what you see with a lot of these like right-wing, propagandists, where they're like Americans who are consuming Fox News all the time, or consuming any of this like right-wing fucking media, and they are like also being told that they live in a world in which they are being victimized, in which they are being, somehow disenfranchised. And it's like, it doesn't matter how many fucking stats you throw out at them about like, you might be victimized in some aspects of things. I mean, not life is just not always going to be fair to you.
Right.
But I mean, have a sense of scale, Have a sense of like urgency, right? Like maybe one thing, your personal thing is important, but if you put that at the head of everything you believe in, that means that your personal safety is going to come at the expense of these people's personal safety.
Right.
And there's far more likely that these people, they are far more vulnerable. So understand it's like you have to be a little bit less of a pussy. And it's so hard to convince people of that because they just see it as being picked on.
I really like how you said give it a sense of scale, because I understand hard times, and I understand like capitalism raining down, like all of the issues that make life so hard. But like all these MAGA guys that just kept tripping out about the price of gas or eggs or whatever.
Right.
I'm just like, can you eat less eggs?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's a bird flu right now. Like you're not really supposed to just always eat eggs.
Right. Yeah. And also like, is that really the reason? Is like what are we putting ahead of everything else? I mean, I look at the eggs thing and I go like, well, okay, first of all, I don't think you guys eat that many eggs. Let's be real with you. You're not having eggs all that often. But second of all, like, I don't think that this is going to be the straw that breaks any camel's back. Like there's, I think it's like more representative of like concerns about the economy and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but like, okay, you do understand that like the people that you are supporting are lying to you about eggs. Like they're not going to change the egg prices. They're not going to single-handedly make gas cheaper. They never have. It's always been the same thing.
You know what's so amazing is the way...
Is this my water?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't tell you.
I love
you have
it.
water. What was I going to say?
Sorry.
Oh, just the way that MAGA has been like so efficient at like pointing the finger sometimes at the dumbest shit, like during the fires, which like living here, it was like, oh hell is raining from the sky.
Yeah.
Cool. But then MAGA people were like, it's because they saved a fish. Can you believe that? Who gives a shit about a fish?
What? I missed the fish thing.
Yeah, because they released a dam that like allowed this endangered species of like smelt or whatever in like the Northern California, like it was some random thing
right
that had nothing to do with how much water we have.
But people like latched onto it as if that's the reason we couldn't fight fires.
Yeah,
of course.
And it's anyway. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out what led them there, and how can I lead them back to being like, it's okay to save a fish sometimes. You can have an egg later, and like the reason hell is raining from the sky is because oil company.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you. Here's the thing. I think that like one thing that you can look at is like, what are the similarities here? Well, these people want to feel victimized, and they are victimized. So just give them, it's about like trying to give them the real culprits of things. That's why like, I think more and more people are turning into vocal critics of capitalism in one sense or another. Now, some of them are doing it from a like sort of like monarchic, oligarchic, feudalist point of view, where they're just like, capitalism's bad. What they should do is have a feudal state in which everyone, serves a lord. There's like psychopaths like that.
We need to get women back in the kitchen.
Yes. And men
raising
plowing.
Babies. No epidurals. Stop. If you can't handle the pain, stop fucking your husband so good. But it's like, I think it's, I think it's
good to at least play on people's, like, for the greater good, playing on people's need to fight the dark loneliness of their current existence and use that fight and activeness and try to do it so that there's a worthy target. And that's hard to do because it's so much easier to blame swaths of people.
Or just like become friends with your dark loneliness.
True.
Become friends with that itself and stop fucking shit up.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a question of like who's fucking shit up. You know, it's like there's a lot of like Trump supporters and whatnot who are just like people who voted for Trump, right? And I don't know how many of them are actively fucking shit up. They fucked shit up by the act of voting for, a fascist. But, it's like, it's more, trying to get those people to see the system that they have been kind of allowing to slowly choke the life out of them and everyone else is that it's choking the life out of them too. That it's not just deporting the, unfortunate, undocumented illegals. They shouldn't have come here in the first place. I'm sorry. It's like, yeah, but these very same people, these very same systems that you're supporting, allowing this to happen, are going to come for you,
right?
One way or another. Like the fact that I've seen, anyone supporting Palantir, anyone who's not like, if you're a conservative and you're just like, I just love Trump, no matter what, it's like, okay, well, you're just like a team sports guy. I can't help you, with that. But like anyone who like claims to have any belief systems at all about like tyranny, and they're like going to support, government contracts to Palantir, which is like going to be used and is used to do mass surveillance on like a fucking scale that we have never seen before. I mean, come on. What like it is, it's like in Andor. One of the great things that Nemec says.
Wait, which one's Nemec?
Nemec is like he's like the little boy who was part of the heist. Who he wrote a manifesto.
Right.
And like one of the things that he talks about is sometimes the scale of the fascism can be so it can grow so fast that it's like daunting and you can't keep up with it. But more to the point, actually, one thing that Andor's adoptive mom says was that when they're talking about Ferrex, is at her funeral, and she says something like, we allowed it to happen slowly over time. They started coming back more and more and more, and we allowed them to like slowly grab, get a stranglehold on us. And it's like, this is like a mix of both of those feelings where you're just like, Palantir is going to be the extremely fast scaled fucking fascism that is going to be so overwhelming to us that we're going to be completely fucking helpless in it. And that it has slowly been getting to this point. And I'm just like, people gotta wake up. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how it's done. People have to put aside being annoyed by people. And I don't know how you do that. How do you make people stop being annoyed by people?
One thing that's helped me, it comes from a 12-step program, and I've really latched on to this. Really helps me because I'm a really fucking annoyed person. Mm-hmm. But it's just principles before personalities.
I agree. Yeah, I love that.
You stick by your principles. Don't worry about everyone's fucking personalities or even your own. Just stick to your principles.
100%. It's so hard. It's so hard for people to do. And it's like, I was talking to someone recently where I was getting their perspective on like the college encampments, and he was, and I like him. He's a nice guy, he's not a very political guy, but he's like kind of like, low key interested. And his whole thought on the, political, on the college encampments was that he's like, I think it's an optics. It's bad for optics. And I was like, how so? And he's like, well, because like college kids are fucking annoying. Like everyone hates college kids, especially like political fucking, active college kids. Like, if you want more people to, on your side, you shouldn't have all these annoying kids. And I'm just like, bro, I don't know how you stop people from being annoyed. You know what I mean? Like, how do you, it's just like, I
feel like we're going in the other direction. We're getting more and more annoyed, like especially with TikTok. TikTok is all about like, oh my God, Chapel Roan is so annoying because she said like whatever. She doesn't whatever,
yeah,
and it's just
she's not voting for Kamala. Yeah.
We're picking people the fuck apart.
Yeah. And we've been doing that on like online, at scale for a while now. That like people have been like cancel culture. And like, it's people have always been annoying online. Online like breeds being annoyed at people because it favors annoying people, and not so much annoying people, but like annoying takes, right? So obviously people are more annoyed than ever, but I'm just like, I just don't know how. Like, how do you stop people from being annoyed at someone who's right? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either.
I think it's like, it's like, well, that's on you, buddy. Like, if you're annoyed by it, then you're trying to get out of thinking about it.
You know what I do?
What?
I got to look to nature. I got to look at animals, and I like to kind of project them onto people because we're animals, and you see like a freaky deer just like acting weird, or you see like a dog that's like, I'm a bad dog, or like, a bird that's like beep, beep, and flying. And it's just like, I'm just like, you would never call them annoying. You're swimming you go snorkeling, you're in the water and you see some fish like come up to you and it looks all dumb. I look at people that way where I'm just like, oh, look at you, like a little fish in the sea.
Little dumbass fish.
So you guys try that. We went a little over, but
that's fine.
You know what I mean? Hopefully we can cut some of my stroke out.
No, I like to keep it.
No, we'll keep the stroke.
Okay, good.
For my medical records.
Yes.
But, I kind of want to ask, like, what do you think, in your fantasy vision, anything could happen, turn of a dime, future, not just for the world, but for yourself. What has to happen to shift things into Mattland?
How can the world shift to be more to my liking?
Yeah, timeline moves in a direction that's less disturbing to you, more fun. And this could be anything. It could be like you're running for high school senior president or whatever, and you're like, "There's pizza in class, pizza in the gym."
Well, I understood it until the pizza part. Just so I'm clear, what could happen? What is a bunch of scenarios in which we get to Happy Mattland?
Yeah, just something shifts, and what do you see happen? Yeah, what vibe shifts, and what do you see happening? Like, what's that day look like? That it's like, oh, people come together, or
honestly,
or it could be like you human centipede people. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so it's really hard to not have that be my answer. Because like there's part of me that goes like, there's multiple routes, and like not all of them are necessarily good for me and my family, because like some of them include like violent, bloody revolution, and I'm like, well, it's hard to raise a family in a time of violent, bloody revolution, and I would like to keep my family safe, but if we're talking about like how we're gonna for the good of everyone else, maybe you have to sacrifice those things.
Yeah.
Sort of like Luthen did.
Right.
From Andor.
Great character.
Great character.
But yeah, as someone who doesn't have kids, I'm like, you can bomb me.
Right. Yeah. It's easier, it's easier when you don't have kids, I suppose. Yeah, it's true though. Cause I'm like, now I'm like, oh, I kind of have to live. But at the same time, sometimes I'm like, I think I'd survive. Anyways, so it's hard to say what the thing is like. In terms of like optimism, the most optimistic I think I've ever been in the last year and a half has been watching the sort of agreed upon general lionization of Luigi Mangione as a man who did a righteous act. and seeing that as like almost a bipartisan thing was kind of like, maybe there is hope for us after all. And I say that because I'm like, that means at least in one sense, there is broad agreement among the people that sometimes when it comes to this fucking, these broken systems of ours, these broken institutions that we have been given promise after promise that will be fixed by some politician or another. Sometimes when you run out of options, this is the only option we have left. And I took there was a little bit of hope in that for me, because I saw people as like, at the very least, being able to understand that the consequences of inaction, the consequences of allowing for this system that we live in to continually cannibalize us, that sometimes the consequences are going to be violent, and that at the very least I was like, okay, so there's an understanding there that the scale of, the urgencies when it comes to, these systems, it's not always like, okay, well, no matter what, we never take justice into our own hands. That's always kind of been like, I think the apathetic death of a liberal society is no matter what, we have to follow these arbitrary laws and rules that we have put in place. And even if it means that we end up with Hitler, well, what are we going to do? It was the righteous thing to do to let Hitler take over because he did it legally. And so to me, I'm like, people have to know that sometimes systems are broken, or at the very least decayed to a point of being completely unusable. And so if they see something like this, like someone doing an extrajudicial assassination of a healthcare CEO, and they go like, I get it, then that gives me hope for society.
Well, he did it in such a fun way too. He wrote on the bullets.
I know, exactly.
Wrote on the bullets, and then
Put on a
couple days later, we find a bag of Monopoly money in the frickin' park,
and then
that's fun.
That's fun, and then he gets arrested, and cherry on top, the most beautiful man anyone has ever seen,
like a Roman statue,
like a fucking Roman statue, a man who,
beautiful boy,
you cannot take a bad photo of this guy.
No.
And I think like for everyone, we just went, well, what are we gonna do? I can't.
Bisexual, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking king. He's just such a king. And I think that, I saw a lot of, I don't know, amongst the like professional like media class and managerial class, and like obviously CEO class and money class, they were like, well, certainly this is not good. Like they were all trying very desperately to get people to be like, this is bad, right, guys?
Yeah. Elon was like, we need CEOs.
Yeah.
CEOs do a lot of
stuff.
You need a CEO.
Yeah.
Because when you have a company,
Someone's got to be the chief.
Someone's got to make the money.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do the profiting.
Yeah, because otherwise, where's that money going?
Anywho.
But yeah, I think that, I don't know if that answers the question. Yeah, what I see is like people finding those little bits, those little, things that like where we all agree, and then somehow someone building a popular movement out of it. And I don't know how that can happen. I know it can. And I hope it does, because I would love there to be a civil and civilized version of change. But that seems more and more like this fantasy as the years have gone on. More and more, I'm like, to support that is to continue to support the decay and status quo, and worse than the status quo, So, but I have hope in heart that all coups will be bloodless.
Same. Peaceful coup.
All smotherings. My favorite Simpsons joke. He took power in a bloodless coup. All smotherings.
I didn't know that.
Oh, it's a great joke.
I'll check that out.
It's a great joke.
The Simpsons, huh?
Simpsons.
All right.
Gotta watch it.
Would you like to tell my humble listenership where they can find, or what you want them to look at?
I would love for them to watch Bad Hasbara, the world's most moral podcast, or listen to it wherever you get your podcast.
Can I tell you what I call it in my head?
What do you call it?
How Come Israel?
That was the other name I should have gone. How come Israel? Why not Palestine?
That's a deep Matt Lieb cut.
Deep Matt Lieb cut. My
how come?
My how come joke.
How come Israel?
How come Jews? That was one of the, if you type how come J.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. And then, of course, the Frogcast, patreon.com/Frogcast. You've been a guest on it, recurring for 1,000 years now.
Yep.
We talk about movies and random shit on there. And then also we talk about TV shows with the Pod Yourself podcast. So any of those, if you want to do that.
Yeah, check them out. My favorite moment of Bad Hasbara lately was when Naomi Klein was on.
Oh, yeah.
And then you said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then she was like, "You're better than that, Matt."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "No, he's not."
Yeah, I think I yelled. No, I'm not.
All right. Thanks, Matt, for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for joining us on Some Timeline. Don't forget to email us your thoughts, questions, songs, whatever, at sometimelinepod@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail at 747-666-7005. Thanks to our sound producer, Seth Hover, our musical composer, Jeff Traeger, our podcast artist, AJ Howard, and I'll see you next time on the next part of Some Timeline.